Hey guys, happy Thursday. Welcome back to my series on what seeds you need to start, transplant, and direct sow. Each week in Zone 8A, I live in the upstate of South Carolina for those who have been asking. And so if you live in the upstate of South Carolina or anywhere in Zone 8 or Zone 8A, I really think you could almost do this for Zone 7 to 9. You can follow along on this seed planting schedule where I tell you what you need to be doing every week so that you stay on track and ready for the spring and summer season. This week is a really exciting week. We have a lot of things that we need to start this week. So let me go ahead and read them off to you. We need to start melons, pumpkins, squashes, and then transplant your parsley, your broccoli, your cauliflower, and your swisschard. All of that stuff needs to go outside. So again, that's starting melons, pumpkins, and squashes. So that's any kind of squash, winter or summer squash, pumpkins, and any kind of like melons, like watermelons or cantaloupes that you are going to be growing. Go ahead and get those seeds started inside and transplant your parsley, your broccoli, and your cauliflower in your swisschard. I have an exciting update for this week's video. We just finished putting in, as you can see behind me, our garden rows. And I've done some videos on this in the past, but I'll just go through that process with you and put in some cool time lapses as I talk about how to set this up. So we use the chicken cardboard miracle, as I like to call it. Basically, what we did is we took this area and we let the chickens scratch all this up, eat up the grass till it's totally bare, and then poop. And that process right there fertilizes your ground and gets rid of the grass that you have that would kind of take over your garden space otherwise. Then we lay down a layer of cardboard, which you can kind of see is still, you can see in the rows like where you would walk here. And then on top of that, we put a mix of compost and dirt. You cannot plant directly into compost. You just think about compost as like your fertilizer. Oh man, I did this whole thing without my mic plugged in. Yeah. I guess you can let me know if you can tell the difference between when I plugged my mic in and when it was not plugged in. But yeah, so you can't plant directly into compost, which is why you want to do a mixture of dirt and compost in your rows. And they don't have to be that tall. On top of your cardboard here, I think we've only got maybe 3 to 4 inches of compost dirt mix, and that is plenty of space. And this will be really fertile soil that's gonna have the weeds suppressed because of that cardboard that's under there. Still looks awesome. I did our rows. Each row is 3 feet wide because I can walk on either side of it and plant from either side. And so I can get lots of plants in a smaller space here in each row instead of just like I don't want a bunch of walkways. I want a bunch of planting space. So that's why I have bigger rows compared to my walking area. And my little walking path is just big enough so that I can roll my garden cart down the rows. So that will work perfect for that. But yeah, check out my other videos on the cardboard chicken miracle. And if you were waiting, here it is in complete form, and now it is ready to plant. I think I'm gonna start sowing in whenever it's time for potatoes. That will go in here, different potatoes. I'm gonna plant corn, okra. I'm probably gonna do the Three Sisters garden in here, which is corn, beans, and squashes. That's gonna all go in this part of the garden. And some other things are gonna go in my raised beds, which are currently behind you. So that's a really exciting update for this week, along with the schedule. So now let's go inside and start getting those seeds started. All right, we are inside now. Excuse the outfit change, it is the next day. So I am going to start everything I just talked about. I've got my different squashes and melons here. I've got zucchini, watermelon, summer squash, pumpkins, acorn squash, spaghetti squash, lots of different stuff. And I'll put up my varieties in just a second. I've also got cantaloupe. And I'm also gonna start my strawberry seeds. I'm not exactly sure when you're supposed to start strawberry seeds, but now feels like the right time. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So let me pull out the varieties that I'm gonna be starting today. I'll start with my cantaloupes just because that's what I have in my hand. I've got a ton of cantaloupe seed from a cantaloupe that I planted last year. And I'm also gonna start some of this cantaloupe that I got from Walmart. So I will leave that out. Then for my squashes and pumpkins, you can see I have a huge, just like bulging container of all of these squashes and pumpkins because I really love that stuff. And I feel like it's just really like hearty and it keeps well, so that's all really good. I've got a zucchini squash, a pumpkin pie. Pumpkin, ooh, that's like a little moist. I need to put in a moisture absorber here. I've got zucchini, that actually needs to go over here. Daisy gourd, these like super huge pumpkins from Johnny Seeds. This pumpkin, which I think is like blue or something. I'm not totally sure. I'll have to see. And some honey boat delectica. I don't know exactly how you say that. And then from last year, I've got some pumpkin seeds that I saved. I've also got some different winter squashes from last year that are all from Lowe's or Walmart or something. And yeah, I've got just like a ton of different, I've got some butternut squash to start. I like this ornamental gourd mix, so we'll see what we get out of that. And yeah, anyway, just like a ton of different types of squashes to start. So that's really exciting. Squashes, like if you're just getting into gardening, you need to grow a squash because they're just like prolific. Like one squash plant is pretty big, but you will get so many summer squashes or zucchinis just from one plant. Like it's insane. And so if you're like just getting into gardening, and that's definitely like what I suggest you grow first, because like it matures quickly, it gives you a ton of food, and it will definitely be like really exciting for you to have at your home. And we'll like last year, basically off of like 2 or 3 squash plants, I had like all the vegetables that I could eat. Yes, I was only eating squash, but like I had a ton of squash. So it really is awesome the amount of food that you can get from one plant. And then the strawberry seeds that I'm gonna plant are from Johnny Seeds. They're the Alexandria variety. Then I've got for my watermelons, I've got some really old watermelon seed. We'll see how that does. I've got my watermelons from last year that did pretty well. We'll see how they do this year. And just another random watermelon seed. So we're gonna see how those, that's the all sweet Congo. And this one is a hybrid, so I'm not even sure if I will do that one or not. The deal with hybrid seeds, I just don't see on here if it's been stabilized. With hybrid seeds, all that means is that's a cross between 2 varieties. And not always is that hybrid stabilized, which means that you could save the seeds from that plant and grow another plant. With some hybrid varieties, just depends, the seeds aren't viable. So that's something to look out for. That's why a lot of people go for heirloom varieties, which typically have some sort of like story associated with them of like, you know, grandma saved these, blah, blah, blah. But those are been stabilized. You can save the seeds from your fruits and vegetables and plant them again, and they will for sure make fruit again the next year. But hybrid varieties, that's not always the case. So that's that. Okay, and then the last thing I have here are a bunch of different zucchinis. Like I said, zucchinis are just super prolific. I have, what are these? Oh, here are some zucchini seeds that I saved from 2020 because my zucchinis last year, it was just like crazy. So I'm definitely gonna plant some of my own because I felt like that plant was really, really kicking and the zucchinis are really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and start planting some of these. I don't have a ton of space. If you can see behind me, a lot of my space is filled up, but I do have a little bit more. So I'm gonna add in some more trays and then get these seeds started. Okay, so I was just kind of like, I don't know if you saw me, like kind of just going like this over top of my seedlings. That gives them a little bit of like kind of wind stimulation, which sounds really funny. When I first started gardening, I was like, what? But without wind, plants don't like get stimulated to grow deep roots. So a little bit of like wind over your plants, like some people put like an oscillating fan. I just kind of come out here and will either like blow or like go like that with my hand to give them a little stimulation that like, hey, you need to put roots down because it's windy. If you're growing, you know, I'm growing these seeds inside, there's not any wind inside. And so they're not gonna get the same stimulation to grow deep roots if you don't do that. So that is the deal with that. I'm gonna make my little labels from the varieties that I'm gonna decide to grow. This is gonna be kind of hard because I've got so many interesting things that I wanna grow. And then we'll get to planting. Remember to get your soil nice and soaked before you plant your seeds. So I'm gonna go get water and soak all of these that I just filled up with dirt. All right, now we plant. So I've got all my tags here. I'm just gonna put my tags in and then I'll come and set the seeds on the ground, and then I go back at the end and push them so that like none of my seeds get wet or dirty, because that is a tragedy. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting these tags in where I want them to go, and then I will start starting seeds. All right, time to put the seeds on. All right, so I just want to show you what it looks like basically after I've laid out all my seeds. Since these are squashes, it's really easy to see, but basically all my seeds are on top, and then I'm just gonna push them down. I'm gonna put a glove on first, but I'm just gonna push them down. I'm actually reseeding my okra because it didn't pop up for whatever reason, but I've got 5 cells left in this tray for whatever's gonna come in here next, and then I've also got these over here that I need to push down. And then I wanted to show you guys this because this is my first time doing asparagus, and I actually started asparagus from seed, which a lot of people start it from starts, which is totally cool. But can you see this asparagus? It is like so tiny, but it has, let's see if I can even get my camera to focus on it. It has the tiniest little like asparagus looking head, and then there's a tiny one right there as well. And it's so funny because it looks like asparagus, but just like teeny. Yeah, my camera can't even really pick it up. But I think that is so hilarious. So I'm just gonna press all of these squash seeds down in now, and we'll be done. And then all we have left to do is transplant. So let me get that done real quick. I'm realizing now I definitely should have transplanted first, and then I could have started more seeds, but you know, you win some, you lose some. Okay, so we're gonna transplant our parsley, our broccoli, our cauliflower, and our swisschard, which makes sense because my broccoli are starting to get really tall and they need to go outside. So let me show you those things, and then I'll go plant them outside And the back there is our broccoli. That's definitely ready to go. My cauliflower didn't really come up. There's one right there, but it is just like, I don't even know if I'll transplant that. I doubt that's gonna do well. And then we've got our cauliflower. Oh no, sorry. Our parsley and our Swiss chard. So Swiss chard right here, definitely ready to go out. And then my parsley, let me see. Where is that? Oh yeah, in the back. Right here. So that's definitely ready to go out too. You're starting to see some true leaves there, and it's ready to go. These tomatoes right here, I'm going to split soon. So you see how I've got 3 in 1, 3 in 1. Here's just one. I'm gonna split those up into each of their own little containers so they don't have to compete for nutrients. But other than that, everything is doing super well. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go outside. So I'm looking forward to transplanting that out there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and have the information you were looking for, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help to support my channel. And I'll see you guys back here next Thursday for the continuation of our seed starting schedule. Bye.